the sum of 30 gold coins was off the wall. To make it easier to understand, you could buy the cheapest Raptorial Dragon for 3 gold coins, and for 10 gold coins you even got a superb Raptorial Dragon for knights that was trained for combat. Needless to say, such a sum wasn't uncommon for jewelry, and some goods were even traded for one more digit. However, this marble wasn't worth that much in Aura's opinion. Moreover, the residence of a lower-class noble without an own landholding went for a price of 50 to 100 gold coins. However, Princess Isabel said something with a serious expression that made Aura doubt her ears. Supposing I would be able to buy this gem. I would offer 30 gold coins for it. 30 gold coins. Aura was at a loss for words from the unexpected amount offered, but somehow managed not to show it on her face and replied shortly. Needless to say, such a sum wasn't uncommon for jewelry, and some goods were even traded for one more digit. However, this marble wasn't worth that much in Aura's opinion. Aura was at a loss for words from the unexpected amount offered, but somehow managed not to show it on her face and replied shortly. Are you being serious? After a short silence, Princess Isabel shrugged her shoulders resignedly and answered. Very well. 50 gold coins then. I do not believe that anyone would offer any more than this. She spoke as if she was having a business discussion here all of a sudden instead of a hypothetical one, and proposed an addition of whole 20 gold coins at once. Aura made no bones about her surprise this time. She had checked with her, asking, "Are you being serious?" because she already considered 30 gold coins exorbitant, so she never expected the offer to raise even further instead. Maybe she misunderstood Aura's words as, "You seriously want to buy it at such a cheap price?" Something was strange. Sensing that, Aura took the other pouch and put a few beads from it onto the silver tray as to attain more information. Well then, how about these? I find them rather intriguing as well. Red, blue and green. The clear and transparent beads in various colors were rather eye-catching, but Princess Isabel's reaction remained down to earth. Oh my, they are fantastic, too. Not only are the grains equal, there is also a small hole in the middle. That promises a diverse and interesting utilization. Beautiful, would you not agree? And quite intriguing. You could make a necklace if you just pull a string through the hole. What would you say is an appropriate price for these? You can tell their quality on a glance, but considering the size, I would estimate 10 silver coins per grain. Princess Isabel put her hand against her full chin and suggested a price, which wasn't all that different from Aura's expectation. In other words, Princess Isabel had estimated one marble worth 500 times the value of a bead. The abnormal value of the marble stood out all the more as the price for the beads was just as she had expected. Still, does such a blatant price mean that she wants to show that she has laid her cards on the table? I shall test her for a bit. Oh, I see. It was most helpful. Let me grant you one piece for your troubles. Pick whichever you like. Saying so, Aura picked up the pouch with the marbles in an affected manner and poured the contents onto the silver tray. A dozen marbles rolled about on the silver tray. Oh my! Princess Isabel uttered a remark of surprise with one hand in front of her mouth, whereat Aura kept track of what she was looking at while calling out to her with a soft smile. No need for restraint now. You may choose whichever you like after you check them thoroughly. Princess Isabel must have sensed that Aura was watching her behavior. She shrugged her shoulders once, then picked up one marble from the tray. Then I will you take up on your kind offer and receive this. The marble she had picked was a rather transparent and colorless one without any patterns. As for the remaining ones, say no more. It solely depends on my husband, but if he should be willing to part with them, I will definitely speak to you first, Princess. Much appreciated. Aura's assurance was seemingly satisfying for Princess Isabel as she smiled softly and politely lowered her head. Princess then cast a glance at the shadow from the sunlight shining in from the window, and said as if she had suddenly thought of it. Oh, whatever happened to my manners? I ended up getting lost in the conversation. Your Highness, as a kind of repayment for the gem, may I have your permission to pay your sick husband a visit? I will be able to give a helping hand for a bit. Aura replied. Of course. You are gladly welcome to do so. No one on this continent would dare to refuse a sick bed visit from someone of the Gilbel lineage. As soon as the preparations are done, I will guide you to the inner palace. Take the room next door to rest until then. Very well. Excuse me then. Princess Isabel concluded the conversation with a smile at the end and stood up with a genteel movement, making a small bow and leaving the room. Today was the 6th day since Zendru had caught the blessing of the forest. He was snuggled in a bed of a room in the inner palace into which he was moved in a hurry yesterday, and sweating in his sleep. His tired body demanded sleep nevertheless as it fought against the illness. Although his condition had improved, Zenjiro was dozing off at temperatures of over 30 degrees during the day. His drowsy consciousness was aroused from sleep by the soft sensation of a palm on his forehead and an unfamiliar voice of a woman. It seems his fever has slackened a lot. I would say he will be back to normal in a day or two. Zenjiro opened his eyes slightly and his gaze settled on an elegant-looking woman in her middle years, who showed a soft smile and had her hand placed on his forehead. Who? Not fully awake, he whispered absent-mindedly. The foreign lady, Princess Isabel, removed her hand from his forehead, stood up from her chair and made an elegant curtsy while holding the hem of her dress. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Zenjiro-sama. My name is Isabel. I am the third child of Johann IV, the 18th Pope from the twin kingdom of Sharo and Jilbel. Thank you for your polite greeting. I am. Zenjiro tried to sit up on the bed in a hurry due to facing a state guest in the form of a princess from a major power, but Princess Isabel gently stopped him in an accustomed manner. Please remain as you are. Your body has not recovered yet. She urged him to lay down again by saying that. Zenjiro noticed something from her remark. Oh? But I'm feeling awfully well. Zenjiro-sama, you have to keep lying down. You feel better now because I have cast stamina recovery and relief of mental fatigue on you just a moment ago. I could have used cure-all, but it is a matter of the blessing of the forest. You will not receive the blessing unless you overcome it by yourself, so I dared to leave it untouched. Okay, I see. You have my gratitude, Princess Isabel. I feel a lot better thanks to you. Do not mention it. Now you only need rest and nourishing food, then you will be up again tomorrow. Princess Isabel suggested. Zenjiro, drink some water. Aura, standing at the back, took a small feeding cup in hand without a moment's delay and brought it to his mouth as he was laying on the bed. Ah, thanks. Zenjiro had become used to Aura taking care of him in the last few days, so he drank from the feeding cup in her hand without showing any embarrassment. Better now. Yeah, much better. Thanks. Princess Isabel witnessed the natural harmonious couple and laughed a bit with her right hand in front of her mouth. I have heard the rumors, but you two really get along. I beg your pardon. Well, better than the other way around. In contrast to Zenjiro, who got a bit bashful from being watched by an outsider, Aura smiled broadly and declared proudly. Indeed, I can only concur with that. Princess Isabel agreed with Aura and chuckled. Come to think of it, Zenjiro-sama, you came from a different world to marry Her Highness Aura. True love knows no bounds, so to speak. Ah, yeah, that's right. For a moment, Zenjiro was surprised about Princess Isabel mentioning him coming from a different world, but he calmed down right away when he gave it some thought. It was a widespread fact that the bloodline magic of the Karpa royalty was space-time magic. By that logic, it would be strange instead if nothing about Zenjiro's background was known as he suddenly became the prince consort. He must have come to such a conclusion. Or maybe his reasoning was still not up to par due to the fever. 150 years ago, my ancestors eloped into my world for love and I, their descendant, have now returned to marry. If you think about it like that, it is quite moving. Zenjiro unintentionally revealed delicate information to royalty from a foreign country. Standing on the site, Aura contorted her face as if to say, oh no, but it was too late. Oh ho, something like that happened in the past. Princess Isabel gave an agreeable response in an admiring tone, but her soft expression turned vigilant for just a second. It is a rumor at best. Although it is the truth that a direct descent of the royal family was erased from the records 150 years ago, there is not a single proof that he eloped into a different world, much less that Zenjiro is a descendant of him. Aura's tone was calm as she said that, but it outright denied the credibility of the information Zenjiro had revealed carelessly. Princess Isabel, experienced in diplomatic negotiations, would misunderstand what Aura was trying to say. Yes, certainly. Forgive me. Despite my age, I become overly excited about romantic love stories, so I ended up making an indiscreet remark. To begin with, it is hardly commendable to involve a sick person into a long conversation, even if he is on the road to recovery. Zenjiro-sama, Your Highness Aura, I will excuse myself now. Princess Isabel discerned the meaning behind Aura's words and raised from her chair while saying that tactfully. Yes, all right. Let me express my gratitude to you for helping my husband. Thank you, Princess Isabel. You are more than welcome, Your Highness Aura. You have my thanks, Princess Isabel. I feel a lot better now. Only Zenjiro was unable to read the mood and thoughtlessly expressed his gratitude from behind the leaving princess and queen, still laying on his bed like he had been instructed to. The night of the same day, Aura had called Secretary Fabio and Archmage Espaldian into her private chamber in the royal palace and chaired a secret meeting. This room, one of the smaller ones in the palace, was illuminated by the flames of the candles burning on the candle stands. Bathed in the red light of the flames, Aura crossed her legs on top of a chair with an elaborated design and addressed Secretary Fabio, who stood diagonally to the left in front of her. The middle-aged secretary took one step forward when his master called out to him, and started to speak with his usual monotone voice. We identified the client of Princess Isabel. It was the former king from the Cobrag Kingdom, Luis II. The queen inclined her head with an unsatisfied expression upon the secretary's report. The former king from the Cobrag Kingdom? How odd. To say nothing of the current king, I cannot believe that the Cobrag Kingdom can afford to call Princess Isabel for their former king. The secretary in his middle years objected Aura's sound argument without showing as much as a fissure in his inexpressive mask. However, males would be unable to enter the inner palace. Aura kept her head tilted in puzzlement from the increasingly cryptic answer, and asked back. Why does the inner palace matter? The patient was former King Luis, was he not? Yes. So it does not concern the inner palace of the Cobrag Kingdom, but rather the inner palace of our Karpa Kingdom. Aura finally discerned the intention of her secretary from his supplementation and wriggled about on her chair. In other words, you mean that Princess Isabel planned to come here from the very beginning? Yes. It is still under investigation, but it appears that the Cobrag Kingdom requested the dispatch of Prince Robert, just as you have conjectured, Your Highness. The truth of the affair seems to be that the Twin Kingdom then imposed sending Princess Isabel instead of Prince Robert for the same price on them. A prince consort suddenly appeared in our Karpa Kingdom. It would hardly be an unnatural approach to learn of his nature. The odds were that the southern continent would be once again thrown into turmoil by the Karpa Kingdom if the prince consort happened to be extraordinarily ambitious. By that logic, it might certainly be important enough to dispatch someone of Princess Isabel's caliber to learn of Zenjuru's nature. Aura looked up to the dark ceiling and sighed. Okay, good. Enough about that for the time being. Aura shook her head once, then again and brought the matter to a closure. After that, she shifted her gaze from Secretary Fabio towards the old man, who stood diagonally on the right side in front of her, clad in a purple robe. Next up, old geezer. The attention suddenly turned towards the old man in the purple robe. The royal Archmage Espaldian spoke leisurely. The personal belonging of Zenjuru-sama, namely his gems, right? 50 gold coins for a single one of them is certainly unusual. The topic changed from Princess Isabel to the marbles, which she had estimated to be worth an unreasonable high amount. 50 gold coins, you say? I get the feeling that this price is a little bit over the top. The secretary said that with raised eyebrows, whereat Aura hit him with a voice that made no pretense of her disgust. Fabio, are you seriously saying that 50 gold coins is just a little bit excessive? My apologies. Let me correct myself. It is a price that exceeded our expectations by far. Without flinching from the displeased utterance by his master, Secretary Fabio apologized and rephrased it with a curt bow. Above all, it baffles me that Her Highness Isabel has taken such an obvious attitude. Saying so, Secretary Fabio expressed his agreement to the opinion of his master. If anything, Princess Isabel was known for having a good personality, but nevertheless, she had survived the higher society as a member of the royal family from a major power. The other party would take advantage of her if she were to express her desires too obvious. She ought to have internalized such common sense. Despite that, she had dared to propose the ridiculous sum of 50 gold coins. Her Highness Isabel could possibly be anticipating a rivalry. If she happens to know of someone that would pay an equal or even greater amount once the gems get known, her enigmatic behavior would make sense. In any event, she does not consider it as mere jewelry. The slender-faced secretary resolutely affirmed Aura's emphasis. Aura crossed her arms on top of the couch and recalled Princess Isabel's reactions. When Aura had scattered all of the marbles on the tray, Princess Isabel had her eyes on the transparent and colorless marble from the very beginning. As long as that was no coincidence or an intentional misleading from her, there might be some kind of value in the color or transparency of the marbles. However, crystals could easily be used as a replacement in that case. I cannot make sense of it. I know too little as to make little more than guesses. Seems I will have to ask the old geezer for his opinion later on. The country's best magician stroked his long beard upon the queen's question and fell silent for a while, then opened his mouth with a prelude of, "This is to be taken with a pinch of salt. Your Highness, how much do you know about the Staff of the Storm Wall from the Gupta Kingdom?" Being asked that all of a sudden, Aura frowned puzzled while she answered truthfully. You mean that miracle of the Barong Mountain Pass, right? Where a single magic tool stalled an enemy army of 50,000 for half a year. Correct. To put it simply, the Gupta kingdom was attacked in a pincer movement by two bordering countries, and during this life-threatening crisis, they protected one border with the magic tool called Staff of the Storm Wall, while the other invading country was warded off with their own troops, thus successfully defending the country. It was most likely one of the most powerful magic tools on the south continent. Lightning was the bloodline magic of the Gupta royal family. In other words, the Staff of the Storm Wall was a magic tool created by the combined effort of the Gupta lineage with their lightning and the Sharo lineage with their bestowal. However, Espaldian spoke up. The problem is the time needed for creating the staff. I will spare you of the details now, but the staff was made in the capital of the Twin Kingdom without a doubt. That would mean that a person of the Gupta lineage went to the capital of the Twin Kingdom and spent a long time there to create the staff, then returned home with the staff. However, the time frame is too short for that. Secretary Fabio, standing on the side, seemed to recall something from hearing Espaldian's story and interjected. Oh, I have heard about that matter, too. While listening to her two trusted retainers, Aura went through her own memory. But she did understand the odd part about the story. Aura remembered that her barrier carpet, currently lent to Zenjiro, had required a member of the Karpa royal family to remain in the capital of the Twin Kingdom for 2 years when it was made. Not to mention that it was common knowledge that a large magic tool like the Staff of the Storm Wall required years. Although she trusted the old geezer, Aura couldn't take his words at face value and replied doubtfully. Would it not be the simple solution that the person from the Gupta lineage secretly went to the capital of the Twin Kingdom already well before and they started to work on it in secret? The queen questioned his opinion, but the aged magician wasn't offended and answered while inclining his head deeply. Yes. Both sides officially claim that to be the case. Others, too, accept that theory as the most plausible. However, a different theory is still irrefutable these days, too. Namely, that the Sharo lineage has a secret technique for drastically shortening the required time for creating a magic tool when the necessity arises. I see. Aura felt that they finally got to the real issue at hand and made a small sigh as if snorting. Such rumors of hidden magics or secret techniques from royal families existed in all ages. In fact, there was even a rumor regarding the space-time magic of the Karpa royal family, to which Aura could only smile wryly with "spare me." It claimed that the ultimate secret technique of the space-time magic could resurrect the dead by turning back the clock. Truth be told, there really existed a spell amongst the space-time magic that could turn back time to a limited extent. Considering that fact, the rumors about the royal families of the other countries might contain some truth as well. Aura posed a question. So, what kind of rumors regarding the secret technique do you know about, old geezer? Very well. One says that the Sharo royal family can drastically shorten the time for creating a magic tool by the means of spending their life force. And in fact, one member of the royal family had taken ill. Aura dismissed the first rumor Espaldian mentioned. Impossible. Sure, the Gupta kingdom is a precious ally to the Twin Kingdom and they protect the important north, but considering their temperament, it is unthinkable that the Sharo lineage would sacrifice one of their kin for them. Yes. I am of the same mind, Espaldian replied. So I regard it merely as a coincidence. But there is one more prominent rumor. It claims that the bestowal magic can be cut short on time and effort considerably when an object with certain conditions is prepared. Aura felt like she had finally heard the answer to her first question after a long detour. She kept silent for a while, then asked slowly with a low voice. So, what does the Staff of Storm Wall look like? As it is the best protected magic tool of the royal family, it is nothing but a rumor from hearsay, but I learned that apparently it is a straight wooden staff decorated with a large, transparent and round crystal at its tip. While looking at the night moon, Aura was thinking about the rumors regarding bestowal magic. Q. Sighing, Aura walked towards the Zenjiro's bed. Feeling guilty, Aura asked sleeping Zenjiro for forgiving her, as she needs to show him to other kingdoms against her promise in future. While feeling tired, Aura leans towards Zenjiro and kissed him.